Okay, guys, in this video, I want to give you a very in-depth guide to how to check the ESN with the phones that you guys are buying, from basic topics to advanced topics, okay? So I'm going to start this video off with some basic instructions on how to check the ESN for the beginners and new people for the course, which is very important. And then for the people already in the course that needed updated information, I'm going to go into some new in-depth strategies to help increase your profit margins. And if you're new and you want to hear this and you're a techie person, you may enjoy this yourself. So stick to the whole video though, because it's going to give you a full strategy. So first of all, before we purchase a phone, we want to know the ESN status of it. Now, I always try, it depends on where you are in the negotiations, what you're going to do. I highly recommend assuming it's going to be a bad ESN when you quote a price to someone over the phone, so we don't overcomplicate things, okay? We know that a bad ESN means either it's been reported lost or stolen, which we try to avoid those, but but most of the bad ESNs we buy, they're either just financed or they're active on someone's account, they are an outstanding balance, which those are totally fine. We're okay to buy the phones that are reported lost or stolen, but just on an ethics standpoint, I try to avoid those if possible. All right. I don't like to ask the ESN though over the phone with the person though while I'm doing this, because it tends to turn them off a little bit. So when quoting, I would just quote them at almost a bad ESN price, unless it's AT&T, because most AT&T phones are going to be clean ESN. Okay. Once you're done with the deal, before you meet the person, you could say, hey, before I meet up, do you mind giving me the IMEI of the phone so I could just run a quick check on it? Okay. Now the cool thing is, if you quote them on a bad ESN and they accept it, if the ESN turns out to be good, then you win. You can just sell it as a clean ESN. You make more profits. If you're going to quote them as a bad ESN, you don't need to even bother checking the ESN. For example, up until this point, we've been buying Sprint and T-Mobile phones as bad ESN. And we don't bother even checking the IMEIs because we're just going to sell them as bad ESN. Now, when listing on eBay, if it turns out to be clean, which I'll show you how to do that, then we can now sell it as a clean ESN. In this situation, we bought this phone as a bad ESN. We're selling it as a bad ESN. We just sell for parts only. If you want more information on that, just go to the eBay listing section of the course. There's tons of information on how to describe these phones in that, okay? Well, back to the ESN checking. So there's a few sites that you can use for ESN checking. I'm going to show you the one that I highly recommend the most at this point, the Ides of May here, 2015. So there's IMEIPro.info, which is one we had been using quite a bit, the most popular one. However, they used to give the iCloud lock status of a phone as well with it, and that's why we did, but now you have to pay for that. So we're getting away now from IMEI Pro, and the information isn't as accurate. So for example, here's one with IMEI Pro here. This is a T-Mobile phone that we used, okay? Now it says blacklist status clean, but now on another site here called sickw.com, right here, sickw.com, we've got the same ESN, yet it tells us there is actually an outstanding balance on it, which means the phone is financed. So at the time of buying this, the ESN actually is clean, because it only goes bad when they stop paying it. But here's the problem. If we buy it as a clean ESN and 4 months later they stop paying the bill, well, then the IMEI all of a sudden is going to be bad, and we're going to get a nasty eBay case against us. So that's what we don't want to happen, right? So it's much better, even if the ESN is currently clean, to list it as a bad ESN if there's an outstanding balance, because we don't know. We can't guarantee whether that person's going to pay that bill or not, and you're gambling, and you're going to find yourself with a bunch more returns if you don't do it that way. Hope this is all making sense. Okay, so the current site I prefer to use mostly is this new one called sickw.com. Now, there are a couple paid options that I highly recommend on this, but you can check most of the carriers for free. So for example, I'm just gonna go to a fresh page now because I don't want to be logged in. Okay, and then if you go to please choose checker, you're gonna see there's a whole bunch of options that they're gonna give you here. Now we're gonna check just the main carriers, okay? If it's a prepaid, I really wouldn't be concerned with prepaid. I would always buy prepaids the same as a Sprint bad ESN. That's how you're gonna appraise any prepaid phones as a Sprint bad ESN. But for the major carriers, we have Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, and AT&T is not blacklisting for non-payment, so there is no AT&T here at the moment of shooting this video. So for AT&T, you can use IMEIPro.info and just type in your AT&T here, because AT&T, at the time of shooting this video, you only have to really worry about whether it's lost or stolen. Now, I've heard some news that they may be blacklisting in the future for non-payment of the phones, so just be wary of that. But at the time, I don't see a checker here for AT&T, so let me just double check to make sure. Yeah, I would use the IMEIPro.info for now, and you should be okay with AT&T. We don't have any concerns about that at the moment. However, with Sprint, Verizon, and T-Mobile, all will blacklist for non-payment now at the time of shooting this video. So before you sell it on eBay, this is probably more applicable before you sell it, because when you buy it, like I said, it's always better to buy as a bad ESN because you're going to buy it at a little bit lower price point. And then if it is clean, you can just sell it on eBay for a little bit more money and you get more profit. But if for some reason, let's say the customer is giving you a hard time about the price, you could use this ESN thing also as a way to close and say, well, you know what, let me check the ESN because we always buy these as bad ESN, but let's see if it's a clean ESN and if I can give you a little bit more. I hope this video is not too confusing, and if it is, please send me a message to let me know if it was difficult to understand, and I'll maybe try to reshoot it. Okay. So getting back to SICW. So here's some examples of phones that we've checked using this service and how it's come out. Okay, so this was that T-Mobile phone. We checked on IMEIPro.info and it came up clean. On SICW, it says outstanding balance. So I would go, in this situation, this phone definitely has a bad ESN. Okay, then we also use CheckESNFree.com, which is another site we used to use, Check ESN Free. This came up this past too. But the problem is it's not showing you if it's got an outstanding balance, if it's financed. So it is clean at the time, but if it's got a balance, remember, that person doesn't pay, it gets blacklisted, we get returns. Bad, no, we don't want that. All right, here's another one right here. This was a Verizon one, okay? This came back clean on SICW.com, which means we can list this as a clean ESN and be safe. There's no finance agreement on it at the time, okay? I found SICW to be extremely accurate. If for any reason there's always industry shifts and technology, so please don't crucify me if for some reason one of these things happens to be off. But at the time of this, I've really diligently checked it out and made sure it's been accurate. We've tested a whole bunch of ESNs, and it seems to be correct every single time. So I trust this site, and that's why I'm recommending it. Okay. Then we've done a Find My iPhone check here. You can use this before you meet up with the person. Remember, the ESN is different than the iCloud lock. Only on iPhones, and you should, if you don't understand this, make sure you watch the video in the course on iCloud lock, or go on youtube.com and just search a little bit about what iCloud lock is on the phone so you understand. But iCloud lock is the theft deterrent measure to make sure the phone is not stolen, only for iPhones. So you can check the iCloud lock here, but the only thing with this is it costs 3 cents. So you would just create an account, put some money on it. We put like 20 bucks on it at a time usually, and you're going to go here to iCloud on or off check. It's 3 cents. It's almost virtually free because you can do a whole bunch of these for very cheap. So it's worth the 3 cents to pay. And then you would just click on that, and then here's the IMEI that we checked with this phone. It happened to be on. This was an iCloud lock phone where my employees accidentally bought and forgot to take the iCloud off. So I tested it to make sure that this worked, and it did. So if it says on, that's bad. That means the Find My iPhone has not been disabled yet. They need to put their Apple ID password in and remove that before you buy it, or factory restore the phone. This is really handy if, for example, you're buying a phone that has what's called a bad LCD, which means the phone works, but like you can't touch the screen or you can't see the screen fully. So even if they know their password, they can't enter the password to take the iCloud lock off. You can remove it from a computer, right? So they can go on iCloud.com to remove the iCloud lock. And then what you could do to verify that they actually removed it, you can type that IMEI, get it off the back of the phone or on the SIM tray, put it into here, and you'll be able to find out whether the iCloud is on or not that way. Okay? Now, this is very advanced stuff in this video. Some of it's basic, some of it's advanced. So you may want to watch this video a couple times and a couple points throughout the course. So if you're brand new, all you need to know is just go on SICW.com, and if it's Sprint, T-Mobile, or Verizon, check the IMEI, and it will tell you if it's clean or bad ESN. If you're brand new, it might be best to just buy all phones other than AT&T as bad ESN for now. It'll make it nice and simple for you, okay? As you get experience buying phones, you can maximize your profits with these little tips and tricks that I'm giving you in this video based on the carrier, okay? So, for example, if you actually get a Sprint phone that does come back clean, you could buy it as a bad ESN and then possibly increase your profits by making a claim. Okay, don't get too caught up though on these fine details with the ESNs. Some people worry so much about squeezing $10 profit out of the phone that they forget about the important stuff like posting more ads, building relationships with customers, and things of that nature, which are the most important, right? So even if you just bought all phones as a bad ESN and sold them all as a bad ESN, it may save you a ton of headaches, and then you don't have to worry about this. So I'm leaving it open. I used to tell people just to do that, but then some people disagree with me and they got mad. So I kind of give both options now and see which one is better for you. If you want to just do volume and not worry about all the technical details, just buy all the phones as a bad ESN and sell them as a bad ESN. The profit margins aren't that much different. Okay. Anyways, this is how to use SICW.com, and that's the most up-to-date information I can give you on Verizon on ESN checking at the moment. So the carriers that you don't have to worry about is just AT&T is only going to blacklist if it's reported lost or stolen, not if it's financed. Sprint will blacklist if it's financed. T-Mobile will, and Verizon will blacklist now for non-payment. Okay, so those you want to definitely buy as a bad ESN, or definitely check before you buy it to make sure the ESN is clean if you're going to go about it that route, or at least make sure it's clean before you list it on eBay. All right. Hope this video was helpful. Please give me some feedback on this if you can. And good luck to you guys in buying your phone.